I pulled into my driveway, dust still clinging to my boots from the livestock show, a blue ribbon pinned proudly to my shirt. The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows over my rancho place I'd worked for decades to keep just right. But something was off. Way off. There was a backhoe clawing into my backyard, and a woman lounging in a pink flamingo float, sipping lemonade like she was at a country club. I blinked, thinking I'd taken a wrong turn into some fancy resort. But no, there was my red barn, my creaky windmill, and right where my cows usually grazed, a half-dug swimming pool surrounded by a makeshift cabana decked out with neighborhood association flags and flickering citronella candles. I didn't even get out of the truck at first. I just sat there, staring, trying to wrap my head around what in the name of Texas was happening. The woman, her name was Linda. I'd later learned spun lazily in her float, sun hat tilted, and called out with this smug cheer, "Oh, you're back. Good timing." They're about to pour the concrete. Concrete? On my land? My jaw tightened as she waved at a crew in hard hats digging into my soil like it was their personal sandbox. "You can thank me later," she chirped. The neighborhood association voted last week for a community pool. This spot was perfect. Nobody was using it. My brain short-circuited, not from confusion, but from the sheer audacity. I stepped out, boots crunching gravel, and took a breath that did nothing to cool the fire building in my chest. Linda was from a new development down the hill, the one that had been throwing up tacky signs calling my stock tank a lake and my ranch road their community entrance. I'd told her before this was private land. She'd laughed, saying boundaries were flexible. Flexible my foot. I didn't bother arguing right then. I walked past the workers. One gave me a thumbs up, thinking I was in on this madness, and headed to my barn. Inside, it was cool, quiet, the chaos muffled by thick wooden walls. I reached for a dusty metal placard on the highest shelf, hidden behind an old saddle. I wiped it clean with my sleeve. Saw County Drainage Commissioner Saw. For 27 years, I'd been the guy making sure water flowed right in this county, mapping floodplains, issuing permits, keeping yards dry when spring rains hit. Nobody else wanted the job, but I knew every ditch, every runoff channel. And Linda? She just dug a pool smack in the middle of a natural drainage path. No permits, no inspections, no clue whose land she was on. Outside, a concrete mixer roared to life, shaking the barn. I slipped the placard into my pocket and stepped back into the sunlight. Linda was now under a beach umbrella, barking orders at the crew like she was directing a MOVY. "Excuse me," I said, voice steady. She looked up, annoyed. "This is my land," I said, pointing at the pool. "You're building that on my property." Her eyes rolled so hard I thought she'd tip over. "Oh, please. It's not like you're using it. We're enhancing the area. Property values will soar." I stepped closer. "Did you file a drainage permit with the county?" A flicker of unease crossed her face, but she waved it off. "What permit?" I smiled, handing her a folded property survey I kept handy ever since she started sniffing around. The pool, the cabana, her precious flags all on my ranch. She tried to laugh it off. "We'll discuss this with the board," she said, like that meant anything. "You do that," I replied. "And while you're at it, check what happens when you mess with a federally mapped flood corridor. Especially when the drainage commissioner finds out." Her mouth opened, but no words came. I tipped my hat and walked away. The next morning, I nearly choked on my coffee. They dug deeper, added inflatable palm trees, rolled out fake turf, and strung fairy lights along my fence. Linda stood by the pool in a neon whistle, shouting orders like a camp counselor. She spotted me, waved like we were buddies, and yelled, "We're throwing a pool party for the kids today. Hope you don't mind some music." Before I could respond, speakers the size of hay bales blasted beach tunes that echoed across my fields. Kids ran wild, one tossing a beach ball into my alfalfa, another feeding my goats Cheetos. A sign on my gate read "Saw Community Pool sponsored by Lakeview Association Saw." My gate, my land, my name nowhere. I didn't lose my cool. I went inside, pulled out my violation folder, and started a list. Unauthorized construction, unpermitted trenching, noise violations, illegal signage, public use of private land. This wasn't just a pool party, it was a siege. By afternoon, The place looked like a water park. Families lounged, a grill smoked hot dogs, and a teenager used my tractor as a towel rack. Linda strutted over with a clipboard, beaming. Great turnout, right? You should join. I gripped the fence post. Linda, you're trespassing. This is my ranch. She shrugged. It's shared space now. The neighborhood voted. I leaned in. The only thing you voted for was a lawsuit. Her smile faltered, but she laughed it off. You're not seriously going to sue over kids, VYing fun. I didn't answer. I just walked away, her music blaring behind me. That night, I printed county flood maps. Linda's pool sat dead center in a drainage corridor mapped in the 70s, channeling stormwater from 3 neighborhoods. With spring rains coming, she'd build a disaster waiting to happen. I mailed a violation notice to her association, certified, with a handwritten note. Saw this pool is an accident waiting to happen. Saw. Days later, Linda upped the ante. She zip-tied a sign to my fence. Saw pool access residents only saw. I tore it down. Then came a flyer in my mailbox, advertising a Saw Splash Bash Sunday Saw with drinks and karaoke, signed by Saw Association President Linda Thompson Saw. No mention of my ranch. I added it to my EVY Denke binder. At the county office, I pulled flood archives legal maps, showing her pool in a protected runoff zone. I scanned my land, confirming the slope would funnel water right into her concrete mess. If a storm hit, her yard would drown first. Linda didn't stop. She hired a lawyer who sent me a letter accusing me of interfering with community improvements. I mailed back a rebuttal with every VY-OLAT code highlighted. Then her cousin, a slick-talking real estate guy, showed up, offering to buy a slice of my land for $1 to legalize the pool. I pointed to his truck and said, "Get in it." He left. Linda's next move? A fake citation from her association, fining me for dusty livestock smells and unapproved barn paint. My ranch wasn't even in their jurisdiction. I laughed, but when I saw a sign bolted into my driveway, reading Saw Lake View Recreation Entrance Saw, I stopped smiling. I filed a county complaint for misrepresentation. The storm hit like it had been waiting for its moment. Rain fell in sheets, wind howling, turning my roads to mud. From my porch, I watched Linda's pool glow like a carnival. She hadn't canceled her event, probably thinking she could outstubborn nature. Water pooled at the top of her road, then rushed toward the pool, which acted like a dam. It spilled over, flooding yards, washing out a playground. County trucks arrived, sirens cutting through the rain. Linda ran out, screaming, her umbrella flipping inside out. Inspectors documented the mess-blocked inlets, floating furniture, a cracked pool deck. An official VY cited me that night, asking for my records. I showed him my binder, maps, photos, complaints. He nodded. This'll make the hearing straightforward. By morning, the pool was a swamp of mud and debris, including a headless plastic flamingo. The county cited Linda for obstructing drainage, unpermitted work, and negligence. At the hearing, I laid out my case calmly, dates, photos, ordinances. Linda's cousin babbled about community VY Shown, claiming the land was unclaimed. I showed photos of my Saw No Trespassing Saw signs. The board didn't buy her excuses. They ordered the pool dismantled at her expense, fined the association, and billed her for damages. The crew came under county watch, tearing down the pool piece by piece. Linda watched from her porch, silent, arms crossed. The land healed slowly, grass creeping back, water flowing freely. She stepped down as president. Her cousin vanished, and the association went quiet. I built a small pond on my land, county approved, with a sign, Saw Private Use Only Saw. Neighbors started dropping by, some with gifts, one saying he'd always known her pool was wrong. At a town meeting, I explained drainage to folks who once saw me as the grumpy rancher. They listened, clapped, and I felt the story shift into something bigger, a reminder that land and law don't bend to ego. One morning, I found a note in my fence. Saw you were right. Saw no signature, but I knew her handwriting. I folded it away. Spring brought pea-stall grass, grazing cattle, no more noise. The wind felt softer, like the land could finally breathe. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Linda had asked permission. Maybe I'd have helped her find a better spot. But she didn't ask. She assumed. And in the end, her pool wasn't just a mistake, it was a lesson. The land remembers, and so do I. What do you think? Did Linda deserve what she got? Or was she just misguided? Should I have compromised to avoid the fight? Or was standing my ground the only way? Would you have sued her outright, or let the county handle it? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Ranch, and subscribe for more stories where the truth wins out.